I want to get to some new developments on a story you probably know well. A woman from California kidnapped from her bus stop when she was just 11 years old, almost 19 years ago. Jaycee Dugard. She was found living with a convicted sex offender and his wife just last summer. She had 2 daughters with her, allegedly fathered by that sex offender, Phillip Garrido. Now Jaycee's lawyer says she does not want her address, any personal information about those little girls or herself given to Garrido and his wife. Do they, though, have the right under the law to get access to it? From California with us, former prosecutor Stephen Clark and criminal defense attorney John Manuelian. Stephen, first to you, what's the answer to that question? Do they have the right to any of this personal information?
No, they don't. And if the defense is entitled to all of the police reports and investigative reports, they have that right. But they don't have a right to get the personal information of the victim or the witnesses in the case. So I don't think the judge is going to allow it. These people are trying to piece their lives together after a horrible situation that they endured at the hands of Phillip and Nancy Garrido, and to give the personal information of those children and Jaycee Dugard would serve no purpose and only subject them to perhaps media attention while they're trying to remain private and deal with this very difficult situation.
John, explain to us what exactly defense attorneys are looking for in this case.
Yeah, defense attorneys are trying to find exculpatory evidence, or what's known as evidence that could tend to help their client. So although Mr. Clark is right, you're not allowed to give some information like personal information, there's a fine line that is between the discovery process and a person's privacy rights. A defense attorney under the 6th Amendment has a right to a compulsory process, and underneath the 14th Amendment, he has a right to a fair trial. So what that basically means is the judge in this case needs to assess whether or not the rights of the victim outweigh the rights of the defendant, Mr. Garrido, to obtain such information.
So, John, I'm going to stay with you for a second. What realistically do you think the Garridos could get? I know they've asked for some videotaped interviews, some photographs with these girls. Is that possible? Would that potentially be harmful?
It all depends on what the purpose of receiving these photographs are. The judge has to make a determination. Number one, how are they going to use this in the case? Is it relevant? There's going to be a hearing on that. And number two, the issue is whether or not the probative value outweighs the prejudicial effect. So the judge is going to determine what, if any, defenses the defense attorney is going to use, what, if any, rights the victim in this case has, and is going to use a balancing test to determine what, if any, evidence comes in.
But, Stephen, how much weight does this carry for the judge? Phillip Garrido, as far as we know, is the father to those 2 children, and in this country, he's innocent till proven guilty.
Right, and if Phillip Garrido wants to establish his parental rights, he can do that in family court, not criminal court. So the judge is making the right decision here by screening Phillip Garrido from trying to contact his children, because that is so detrimental to the children's interest. He is entitled to any investigative reports, but he has no right to resurrect or try to resurrect a relationship with these children, and particularly with Jaycee Dugard. All of these people have lawyers who have said to the court, we want no contact with Phillip Garrido. He is detrimental to their well-being, and the court has the duty to protect the victims here.
John, just one last question for you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you remember, the reason why this victim is trying not to give information is because they believe that Mr. Garrido is communicating with her indirectly through their attorneys, not for the purposes of discovery, but to send her messages. Remember, early in this case, there was a concern that she may still be under that guise or that brainwashed mentality where some sort of code may be sent from Mr. Garrido directly to the victim. So they're trying to prevent any kind of persuading or dissuading of a witness indirectly through the attorney. So that's the issue.
John Manuelian, Stephen Clark, this will all be in court. This issue will be next week before that judge. We'll continue to follow it. Thanks to you both.
Thank you.
The beginning of her